Hello, good morning everyone. My name is Kripal. I am from IAC Consultants. Uh, at the outset, I would like to apologize for what happened yesterday. We could not go live at 3 p.m. as promised due to some technical errors. Now we are back live today as promised. Uh, Today's topic that we decided to discuss is why do we feel that this is the best time now to go and study in UK. Before we start the session, I would like to just recap a little. A month and a half back, I did a small session on the travel ban which has been imposed by some countries, updates about visa application centers, and then quarantine requirements for a country. How old the COVID report student needs to carry when they travel to their study destination. I hope it was helpful. Back then, when we did that session, situation in India was indeed very scary. We were reporting about 4 lakh fresh COVID cases consistently. Things have changed now. The numbers have declined. For if you look at today's number, we reported around 60,000 odd cases. So of course, things are getting back to normal, life coming back on track. But we still request all our students to not to step out of their house unless it's absolutely critical. We are available on phone, WhatsApp, and all the other mediums which you know we are available at. You can reach out to us there, and we'll try to help you without you have to visit our office. So now, without wasting any more time, let's start. One more thing which I forgot to say is that I really request all our students to get vaccinated ASAP, as in when they get the chance. So before we start the session, today's session, I would like to share one small example of a student of ours who recently got visa for UK. Why I'm sharing this case is because this is a slightly unique case which a lot of people are very hesitant to take up. I'm talking about consultants or students themselves are not very clear whether they should proceed for studies or they should apply for a permanent residency case. Now this student finished his undergraduate in the year 2011, and since then till now he has been working, but there has been some gaps in his profile, so his profile is very patchy. He finished his graduation in the year 2011, and from then he had a gap of about 2 years up till 2013. From 13 till 17, he worked for a very small and a medium scale IT company. After that, he again took a gap of a year, and from 18 till the date he received visa, which is about a month back, he was working with Accenture as a senior associate. So he got the visa. He traveled with his wife and a small kid which is 2 years old. So the reason for talking about this specific case or giving you example of this specific case is that if you are someone who believe in yourself and you are ready to put in the hard work, we feel that any visa can get approved, especially when it comes to UK. The cases are very unique. They are taking students with more than 10 years of education gap also, like I said. When he visited our office, before visiting us, he has been to a couple of other agents, and most of them were not very sure whether to take up that case or not. And ones who were very sure as well, they were a little hesitant as to what to be prepared for the interview, because UKVI is taking an extensive interview. Sometimes it goes up till 30-40 minutes also. So of course the student was slightly scared, and the consultants were not, all the case consultants were not ready to take up his case. When he came, he met a counselor at our office, a student counselor. Our student counselor came and spoke to me, and she said that no, I really feel that this student is good despite having that much of education gap. His communication skills are fairly good, and his confidence levels are also very nice. So she suggested that I should meet him once. I met him, and after meeting him, I really felt good. Student was oozing with confidence. He had a very clear-cut plan as to why he want to go to UK, why and what are the things which he will do which will help him have a successful career in UK and have a lovely and a fruitful life for himself and the family. So we took up the case, and student got the visa recently. There's nothing to boast about. This student belongs to our Dilshuk Nagar office. There's nothing to boast about from our side. The credit should go to student because he knew that his profile had complications. He knew that he will have to work hard to answer all the objections which will be raised at the time of interview. So he was very well prepared. Of course, we did our bit, but yes, I should say that the credit has to go to the student in this case, because he was willing to put in the hard work. He did put in all his hard work, and then he got the visa. We felt very good. We are very happy about it. Like I said, the reason for this example was to help you understand what kind of cases can go to UK. Okay, similar kind of profile, a person who wants to go abroad, what will they do? Usually, they want to apply for a permanent residency either in Canada or Australia. For getting a PR in Canada, you need to score a certain number of points. Okay, so to score those points, they will look at your education qualification, your work experience, your age, and all the other factors. So when we apply for Canada PR, for example, for this student, if we applied for Canada PR, the time to be taken for that process is pretty long. Overall, his profile was not being eligible. He was expected to get an IELTS score which is of 8 and 777, which was very difficult for him. So for him to fulfill his dream of going abroad and working or settling down will be a very long path, and that too he is not very certain about it. Whereas when he decided to go to UK, he's already there in UK. He started his study. In a year, he'll complete his masters and then go on with his life. So I feel sometimes we need to make some tough decisions in our life, especially a profile like this who has about 8 to 10 years gap. You know, they're always in dilemma whether I should apply for a student visa or for PR. If you have those kind of ambiguities with regards to your profile, we request you to come down or call us or WhatsApp and have a word with us. We'll assess your profile and we will advise you whether you should go for a permanent residency or you should apply for a student visa. We as an organization, we also provide immigration services for Australia, Canada, Germany, and a few places in Europe as well now. So feel free to talk to us. We will try to help you to the best of our abilities. One thing is that in most of the cases of overseas education, SOP holds a lot of significance. In case of UK, it is even more important, especially in case of UK. People who, really put in the hard work and write the SOP, and people who just manage by copying somewhere or other, the difference is quite evident when you read the SOP. Most of the SOPs which we read are very copybook type, like, okay, I'm so and so, born, brought up, did this studies, in my family, I have all this, and that's basic, so on and so forth, these kind of SOPs. Whereas, versus an SOP, for example, hello, I'm so and so, I want to work at a senior analyst position in one of the big four existing in Hyderabad. With my current education qualification or with my work experience, I think it would be impossible for me to reach that stage. Then at the same time, I did research. Some of my seniors from my college who have gone to UK and done a program like data analytics or business analytics from UK. They are working now in one of the big companies over there and they have a very bright future. So this is what I want to be. So why don't I use them as a benchmark, as a case to look forward to, and I really want to be someone like them. Hence, I thought that's a proven path and I should take that path. Again, there are a lot of more things to be added in an SOP to make it more genuine and more convincing. We can do, difficult to cover in this session. So if in case we get a chance, probably I'll try to explain you how a detailed SOP can be done and more convincing. UK universities were very popular and are very popular because they were taking students without IELTS. However, of late, some universities have changed it. Now they are expecting the student to have an IELTS score. Some requirements vary. Some are asking for 6, some are asking for 6.5. If in case there are still some universities which are taking students without IELTS, they expect a student to have an intermediate English marks of around 70. Assuming you don't have 70, you have 65 or 66 and you're falling short of about, let's say, 3 to 4 marks. Again, either you give up or you work hard, you take a month's coaching for IELTS, prepare well, write the exam, get the desired scores and go to UK. That's a little bit of hard work and extra efforts which you need to put in, but still you can go to UK. Especially for people who are married, who are like 4 to 5 years of gap in their education, they are the ones who are rightly placed at this point to apply for UK. So despite doing IELTS and all those things, there is still a little bit of hard work which a student needs to put in. With the experience of this many years while recruiting the students, I can tell you that the hard work or the efforts which we are requesting or asking the student to put in will not be more than 30 to 40 hours. Okay, so efforts means you need to prepare yourself in terms of your profile. How can you explain your profile? You have to follow the usual guidelines set by UKVI and you have to lodge your visa under that. So most of your interview questions, whether from the university or from the High Commission, will be based on your profile or the policy guidelines. So What do you need to prepare? You need to prepare why you need to go to UK. Why this specific course? Why can't you study here in India? Have you compared this course with other universities in that same region? What is the tuition fees? What are the course component? What is the uh, course outcome or the career outcome? What do you expect to do, or what do you plan to do upon completion of your studies? Do you have a clear-cut future career goal? Do you have a progression path inside? So these are the things which a student needs to prepare. This is the hard work which a student needs to go through. I say 30 to 40 hours is more than enough if you need to really prepare for a credibility interview, or for that matter for the visa interview. If you are someone who is prepared to put in 30 hours of hard work, which I just suggested, then you are free and you're welcome to come and apply for UK upcoming September 2021 intake. When it comes to requirements, any person, any student who completed their intermediate in the year 2019, 20, 21 can come forward and apply for an undergraduate degree in UK. You need to have an IELTS score of 6 with no band less than 5.5. Undergraduate degrees in UK are usually of 3 years. Not usually, they are of 3 years, I'm sorry. And then if you are a graduate, does not matter when you finished your graduation, it could be 10 years back also, like I shared with one of the example. You can still go ahead and apply for your student visas for a graduate program. If you have a clear-cut description or justification as to what have you been doing for last 10 years, and you can justify it with the help of a document, then there is no problem. You please feel free to come and apply for September intake. You are married, you have a kid, still you are welcome to come and apply for UK student visa. Of course, there will be some questions. Could be a lot of questions asked by university and the High Commission both at the same time about why your spouse or your kid is accompanying you, what kind of benefit you will get by if they accompany you over there. How will it help you in successfully completing your graduation and having a better future? All those questions can be very nicely answered. One is again a very copybook kind of answer which most of the people prepare, which sometimes work and sometimes don't work. At the same time, a carefully thought of, crafted answer based on your education qualification, your last work experience, your family background, your future career goal. If we mix all that, analyze it and prepare an answer, we can surely get successful even if you are married and you are with kid. Usually in our region, what we see when a student visits a consultant or talk to them for the first time, most of the discussion is confined towards requirements, the financial aspect of that, how much the expenditure they have to incur, what kind of part-time jobs, which region they should target. In most of the cases, we see consultants don't talk about the family background at the first instance. This family background discussion comes into the picture at a later stage, probably when the student has to go through a credibility interview, or at times had to attend a UKVI interview. That is the time when people start, because that is the time when an SOP is prepared. Usually that should not be the case. So in our office, we practice that when a student comes for the first time, at the first instance only, we try to understand their family background, their financial backgrounds and all those things. Again, everything boils down to how much you are involved with your application, whether it's university or visa. A student who is very involved here at this stage also, we get two set of students. Okay, one is someone who will visit you with a set of documents and say apply. In this case, the course selection or the course which they want to go, he as a student, he or she as a student does not play any role in it. Agents will suggest them the courses. Most of the cases we see that agencies or the counselors who are working in those agencies are very comfortable with those 5 to 7 programs, and they keep on applying for those 5 to 7 programs which are very generic in nature with your background, of course. So now there are plenty of programs in our region. If you have to take an example of computer science student or an IT student, what you see is that majority of them will apply for MS and CS, IT, those kind of programs. Whereas there are plenty of other options like artificial intelligence, big data management, ethical hacking, cyber security, forensic science. There are many more, So if what we are expecting you is that you should apply for a different kind of a program, which will be more rewarding in terms of your career and in terms of your salary as well. So a lot of times we also see students keep calling me, sir, I have applied, where is my offer letter? So we call them and we talk to them and we tell them, why don't you start preparing for your credibility interview? Sir, but I have not received an offer letter, how can I prepare for? So what is there to, before preparing, why do you need an offer letter? Only thing you need is that you need to ask your agent which program have they applied for at which university, and you can start preparing. Why you want to go to UK? Why not India? Why those courses? All the questions which I asked you, what's your future career plan and all that, everything is available on internet. If you really start doing research, it's more about your profile. If you really start working now, like I said, the day you apply through us, the day you decide to apply, from that day you start counting 30 days. Usually a shelf life of a student who wants to go to UK is not more than 45 to 60 days. This is the time when everything is done and he is planning to travel now to UK. If you are willing to put in those 30 hours of hard work the day you apply or the day you visit us, then you will not be scared of the interview, whether it's UKVI or the university interview. But if you are someone who is not prepared and you suddenly woke up, okay, in a couple of days there's an interview, please prepare me fast, you visit our office. Of course, we have a team here who will sit with you and will help you prepare the interview, but again, that will not be fruitful is what I will say as of now. Whereas versus if you are someone who has actually put in those 30 hours of hard work in doing research on Google, find out everything about UK education. That's all you need to do. UK education, their policies, guidelines, and what kind of career outcomes or the course outcome, course components, which will be very common for most of the universities that you'll be applying for if you're applying for one specific course. So if, like I again come back to this, each and every student should hold himself or herself accountable for their application and don't blame anybody else if in case they are not able to reach the goal which they have kept for themselves. Let's now try to understand what is UK government's stance towards international students. Of late, there have been many statements issued by UKVI, but a couple of them we should take account of. First is that they are saying that we are working towards making UK the #1 choice for international students. They were already #1, they are trying to be there once again. They have given about 2 years time for that to themselves, that within 2 years will be again first choice for international students. Another statement was issued which says that we will take at least 6 lakhs international students from all over the world. Majority of that by the end of year 2030, and majority of that they're expecting to take from Indian subcontinent. So they are very receptive to international students. They have also introduced recently a youth mobility scheme under which they will be taking about 3,000 youth from India and they'll be allowed to go over there and work for 2 years. Though this announcement has already come, but the guidelines are yet to be issued, which will be issued by the end of this month, and then we'll have more clarity as to what kind of students can or what kind of people can apply for that. Usual age bracket which has been kept by them is about 18 to 30 years. So there will be plenty of people who will fall under that category, plenty of our students also will fall under that category. So once we get more clarity on that, we'll brief you about that. Now going to the next aspect, most of the time when we talk about UK overseas education plan, people are very scared about the interviews which are conducted, like I said before. And I'll just take a minute to explain that if in case you are prepared, as I started this session with, if you are someone who's prepared to put in those 30-40 hours of hard work, then you should not be bothered. You are scared because you're not prepared. If you are someone who's put in the hard work, you will not be scared at all of any kind of interviews which they are asking. In UK at this point of time, we have around 150 universities which offer more than 10,000 to 15,000 courses. So the major intake is September, which we are looking at right now, which is about 3 months away. And the usual tuition fees for a year is about 10,000 to 12,000 pounds. That's about UK. Then few rumors or you can say few myths are going around when it comes to UK education. A lot of time people are saying that UK does not offer you a post-study work permit, which is entirely incorrect. Go to the UKVI website, have a look at this. Anybody who graduated from UK in the year 2019-20 onwards, they all get post-study work permit of 2 years. They are all entitled to get 2 years post-study work permit. Another myth going around is that UK as a country does not offer good post-study settlement opportunities to the international students, which is again incorrect. If you really are updated or you are trying to do more and more research about it, you will understand that from 1st January 2021, a point-based system policy has already been put in place. The problem here is that who will take the pain to read? Our students are, again I said, 2 types of students. Someone who is really willing to understand how can I settle to UK if he or she spends a day in reading the point-based system and understand what are the things he is required to do if in case he wants to get a PR in UK, and does everything accordingly, he or she is destined to be successful, but people don't read it. What they do is that they try to find some or the other way, some or the shortcuts for all those things, which does not happen. I strongly feel if you are someone who have to have a successful career, you need to have a very strong foundations, and if your foundations are laid on the right path, then you will not have a problem. Okay, you need to have right skill sets to be successful. So this is the time when you need to acquire those skill sets and not look for shortcuts. In all this, in all this, when we talk about the post-study settlement opportunities, entire thing, all what is common is an employer support. Assuming a typical student which we get, who has about 3 to 4, who has studied here for 3 to 4 years BTech, and then maybe work for 1 or 2 years in a good organization. Now they go to UK, they again study for a year, and they again get 2 years post-study work permit, in which they are supposed to find a job for themselves, work over there, and get a full-time job role. So if in case after studying this much, investing so much of money, studying here, studying in UK, working there, despite all that, if an employer is not ready to accept you, they feel that you are not someone who will add value to their organization, then I'm sorry to say, but you have to self-assess yourself and be a little self-critical about yourself. That is why that you are not able to get a job offer from an employer. If you get a job offer, there is no problem. You will 100% have a successful and a fruitful life ahead in UK, and when you plan to come back to India then as well. Here also I'll take example of two kind of students. One student is that who will go from here and immediately start looking for part-time jobs. Though most of them they do get part-time jobs. Then there one set of students is that who will ignore their studies, not go to college regularly, not submit their assignments on time, and focus only on part-time jobs and earning more and more. Those are the people who struggle at a latter part of the stage, and then these kind of people we see spend about 3 to 4 precious years of their life doing odd jobs here and there, sometimes delivery, sometimes kitchen help. Plenty of odd jobs is what these people do. Versus a student, who goes over there and maybe for a first 1 year, he doesn't earn the same way like the other student is earning, because he's focusing on his studies, he's focusing on his grades, he's working on building the network. So these are the kind of people who are more successful at a later part of their life. So what happens is that the post visa, when you are in UK, life can be again divided into two parts, first half and the second half. First half when you are studying, and the second half when you actually start your career. If you enjoy your life at the first part, by enjoying I don't mean you go out and party, by enjoying I mean that you are more inclined towards part-time jobs rather than on focusing on your studies, then you are the one who will struggle. Again, like I said, the other student who is willing to work hard, put in all the hard work in that 1 year, build a good rapport with the professors. Networking is very important. When you go to a different place altogether, you need to build a good network, make a lot of local friends, because their parents are the one who will be working in the local organization. They can help you get an internships. So if you read the point-based system and if you follow what I'm saying properly, you are destined to be successful. Here I would also like to take a minute and talk about the parents. There are two different kind of parents also which we come across, because we have been sending students to various study destinations for a long time now. Sometimes the parents whose kids are already there, they come and meet us. One parent will say that my son has gone to UK or Australia now. It's been 1.5 years or 2 years. He has not been sending any money. He's been working. Though he is not asking too much of money from me. Also, he's trying to manage, but still he is not sending anything home. Whereas I'll meet other parent who will say, my son went and he started sending me a lot of money immediately. So the first case, it's not bad, it's good actually. So parents have to understand that student, if he is not sending you money back home, that means he's serious, he's actually focusing on studies, hence he's not able to earn a lot. That's how he's not able to send a lot of money back home. Whereas the other student who has been focusing a lot on work, parents would probably be very happy for a year and a half. But later on, when he completes his studies and he goes out to look for a full-time job role, that is where he struggles. Because he is not focused on his studies, he hasn't added any value or haven't acquired any new skill sets. So this person will have to struggle for sure. That's all as of now. What I feel is that September intake, which is about 3 months away, considering the timeline, the deadlines which universities have sent us through an email, considering the financials which you have to arrange, considering the waiting for CAS, credibility interview, then you have to book your visa slots, get your medicals done. Keeping all this in mind, I feel that July 15th is the date which you should keep in your mind. You should lodge your at least the application with university before 15th of July. Otherwise, I'm sorry to say, but you will miss out on September intake, and you probably will have to go for next intake, which is Jan intake. Current scenario, in case you want to go to Canada, let's assume you are a student who wants to go abroad and now you want to go to Canada. Even if you apply now, you can't go for September. You'll have to go for spring 2022, sorry. When it comes to Australia, of course, there is the borders are still closed. There is no certainty. We are still very uncertain about when they will open up. Of late, in last couple of days, there have been news coming from New South Wales that they have started a pilot project in which they'll be taking 250 students in New South Wales every fortnightly. As of now, this is just an announcement. We don't have any clarity on that. Again, I got another message yesterday that UTS is the one who is taking the initiative and taking in the first batch of around 150 or 200 students. This just announcements, no clarity. As and when we have clarity, we will come back live and we will probably inform all our students about it. We have plenty of students who are very particular about Australia and want to go to Australia only, and they're just waiting for some positive news in which they can start their process. So we understand that. We will come back to you very soon. Next popular destination, US. US already people have started going for visas now. People are looking for fall intake. So if in case you are someone who wants to go abroad now and maybe hoping to go to US, most of the universities, the deadlines are crossed and they have finished the application. Students are now attending visas. However, there are still some universities which are open. So you can still go ahead and apply, but choices will be very limited. You can't be very picky choosy when it comes to university or a program. You have to take whatever is available right now. So considering all this, UK is the only country which is clear, evident, accepting students, open for September intake, right in front of us. There is no ambiguity about it. So UK is what we should target if in case you are someone who finished your graduation. Does not matter how many years back. You are married, you have kids, no problem. You prepared to put in 30 to 40 hours of hard work, then you are the right person to go ahead and apply for UK right now. UK also accept refusal cases. Okay, we have got plenty of visas recently. People who have got refusals from Australia, US, Canada, but when they applied for UK, they all got the visa. So, like I said, I'll finish the session by saying the same thing, that all the students who are applying or planning to go abroad for higher studies, does not matter which country, whether UK or any other country, you should hold yourself accountable. Be more involved with your applications. Don't leave it to someone. It's your life. Don't leave it to someone. Be involved, be aware, so that you can make an informed decision, and which will help you have a fruitful and a rewarding life once you finish your studies and start your career. That's all. We would like to end our session now. Like I always end, IAC is a 20-year-old organization. We have 6 fully functional offices in AP and Telangana. In Hyderabad, we have offices at Narayanguda, Dilshuk Nagar, Panjagutta, AS Rao Nagar, and KPHB, from where I am live right now. Now, due to the restrictions being imposed by the Telangana government, we are working from 9:30 to 4:30 as of now. As and when that restrictions are lifted, we'll go back to the normal work time, which is 9:30 to 6 usually, Monday to Saturday. So feel free, all our team is very well equipped. Feel free to get in touch with any of our team member in any of the offices, and they will help you with your UK university applications and the visa process. If in case you want to meet me personally and get your profile assessed, I'm available in this KPHB branch of IAAC from Monday to Saturday, every day from 9:30 to 4:30. And if in case you want to get in touch with me personally, my number is 7729997891. I'll repeat once again, 7729997891. My name is Kripal and I'm available at IAC KPHB office. That's all for today. Before we sign off, I'll just brief you about another live session which we are planning to do probably on Saturday, this Saturday. But however, we will still communicate you via all the online platforms that we are connected with you for, that when we'll be doing. The session will be more about the course relevancy. I mean, usually a person with computer science background in our region applies to those 3-4 generic kind of courses. So now we are coming up with new courses which a student should look at and apply, which has a better visa success rate and also a better rewarding career later on in their life. So that's all for this day today. Thank you very much for joining in. Have a good day and